Steven,
You're
welcome
live.
welcome to the show. I
Yeah.
can boost Steven's audio louder or softer, so you guys just let me know. Um, Fantastic. Okay,
Michaela's going beast mode right now.
Mac just does go beast mode too.
Yeah, she does.
You remember we were in Houston, Texas, and we had her hit a one rotation,
Oh,
hit a high ball. I mean, we were getting killed, right? Our team was
oh yeah.
exhausted. It was like the
Yeah.
last match of the day, and we just were trying anything we could to side out a ball. And Steven, if you remember what happened when she went up to hit it.
Yeah. I
Um,
think she cleared the court behind us and halfway up the stadium on the other side of that court on the fly.
yeah, in the convention center in Texas, those of you that have been there, it's like two levels. So as you get into the great effort. As you get into the higher numbered courts, it was on like this. You had to walk up like a flight of stairs to get to it. Anyway, we're playing on the last court closest to those stairs, and the stairs are probably a good 65 feet away from the net,
Yeah.
right? Like 30 feet to the end line,
Hmm.
and then another 30 feet, I think, to those stairs.
I agree.
Uh, and Mac hit the ball so hard, she just missed the block, high hands for the tool, and it like, did it hit the stairs or did it actually go into the upper level?
It went into the upper level because it bounced off the stairs halfway up.
It bounced off the stairs and went halfway up. Oh my gosh, she was not happy about that.
No, I think to my memory, her when we sat down uh, to because that was to go to a third or something like that because we wiped them out in the first set, then we lost the second set just ginormously, and we went to the third. And we're sitting back on our own bench. She just goes, "I wanted to get out of it. I just wanted to get out of
Yeah, I remember that now. It's like at that point, it was like, I'm getting this kill or I'm getting this over.
it." Yeah, for sure. It was really funny.
Cool.
God, I remember just there's just so much. What I like about volleyball is I'm just seeing right there is just there's so much information that gets thrown around all the time, and yet there's still all this allowance to be an amazing athlete at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? We've got blocking calls, we've got defensive rotations, we've got serve receive strategy, we've got all this sort of stuff, and then at the end of the day, it's still just be as athletic as you can and go be awesome. As
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and I think that's why playing volleyball makes is so fun, but watching volleyball too is really fun.
uh,
Um, Knowing the score obviously helps, so I apologize that we don't have a scoreboard here, but um, with all the things that we do as coaches to scout and to learn our opponent tendencies and come up with this game plan, you can really only control and plan for like the first contact, the first
mhm.
attack coming your way, maybe a free ball type thing, but usually not. Like once you get into a rally, it is all about the athlete, their athleticism, their what they're seeing, their decision making. So it's certainly hard as a coach, right? Because you want to like help impact the game, but then when you really understand you can only maybe influence a handful of points as a
Yeah,
coach, um, then it becomes really cool to know that like you're winning because of your players. You're winning because of the good job that they're doing.
yeah. It looks like we have a little comeback run right here, just because we are. They took that timeout. I think we won 2 or 3 points before that.
Um,
So obviously we lose this set, but that's whatever.
yeah, but you let tell us about, we were talking about that last week, but if you don't mind telling us that again. It was kind of like your thoughts as you reflected back on this team and this year, uh, with it being like their first time at this level of
Uh-huh.
competition. You said that they were like kind of always waiting or playing catch up, or um, how did you put it?
Um, I actually forget. I know the scenario you're talking about, but we were always seeming to have to make adjustments to the game intensity, because as you were saying that we were copycatting what was happening on the other side of the net and then trying to match it rather than setting the tone or setting that sort of pace of play. There you go.
We should have just done that the whole time, right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, forget about waiting for them to make the first move.
Yeah, volleyball's easy when you can hit it two like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool with, you know, a relatively, to me, right, it's a young team in that, when I say young, I just mean like the amount of experience on the other side of the net is, they just have so much more, you know, from sheer number of matches that they play, the level of competition that they see, not just in club, but high school, right? I mean, I lived and worked in Southern California for 3 years. Man, that's a great swing.
Oh my goodness.
But everybody does that, right? So our gold divisions here in SIVA are like 8 teams per division, right? It might be 12 now, but it's 8 teams are in gold. 4 teams from Oregon make it to platinum. In Southern California, where this opponent is from, Sunshine Volleyball Club, in their gold division, there's 16 teams.
Yeah.
Like, and they're all good, right?
Yeah, they're all good.
So when you're in that that bottom 4, you're legit. You're a good, you know, and
yeah, you're a contender.
So I guess you could say they're, well, no, I was going to say that Southern California is twice as deep as in terms of depth of competition. But no, it's more than that, because that's that is okay. Their gold division 1 has 16 teams. Their gold division 2 has 16 teams.
Sure.
Okay. So
yeah, it's kind of like the Tour of Texas. I always tell the story about the Tour of Texas as well, and how just unreal the depth is out there.
Yeah. It's something else. I think we'll get there. I don't know how much you and I have talked about this. Maybe not at all. But in Arizona, they do this open division, and I'm obsessed with it, because if you have a 14s or 15s team and you're like, hey, we know we're legit, right? This is an above average team for this age group in this region. You're allowed to put that team in the open division, right? So they'd be able to, that 14s, 15s team would be able to every weekend play against the top teams in all of Arizona. So the top 18s, the top 17s, whatever age group, if you're legit, you can sign up for that open division. I want that here in Oregon, but the reason why we can't do it is because they say if you don't play in Power League in your age group, then you shouldn't be allowed to play in the bid tournament, right? Because how would we know how to rank you and place you in that tournament? You know, so I get it, but it's also quite frustrating to me as a coach that's thinking about like long-term player and athletic development. I'm thinking this team needs to be pushed and challenged more, and not just that, but if we allow them to play up, they'll probably then go to these national qualifiers where they play in their age group division, and then they would do really well, is kind of what I'm saying. And you know, it's kind of this response. You know, Arizona for a long time didn't have the same depth as Southern California. Not many regions do. Ohio region, Florida region, and Texas region, maybe. You know, so their solution was to make the open division. And I went back and I looked at 10 years, the past 10 years. And what we see is 5 years after they started the open division, Arizona went from qualifying 1 18s team in open to 4 or 5 teams in 18 open. Okay. And so like, why is that? Part of it is because their region grew. You know, new athletes were coming to the sport. So, okay, maybe that doesn't have to do with the open division. But then the other part of it is those 15s and 16s that were playing against the 18s, by the time they were 18, my point earlier, they had more experience than their peers.
Yeah, and talking about experience, we were talking about the 16s team specifically, and this one with their lack of open nationals experience, the kids across the court could have been 12 open, 13 open, 14 open, 15 open, and I know that's what you're alluding to earlier, but I thought it just needed to be said also.
No, yeah, I think about it's kind of like with our forefront team, right? We'll take players and we'll play them up. I
Yes.
I typically, wouldn't. Oh, that's great swing, nice play, pass, set, swing.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, we won. We won this. I knew that. Did you know that?
I thought we won in 3.
I thought so too. Did we beat them in 2? This is like the only match that we won in 2.
The only match we played in 2 and we won.
When I went and looked back, I didn't realize this. We played Mintonet 16s at this national tournament. Mintonet won that won it, I think, this year at 16s, and then they finished second in 17s. But oh my goodness, look at that.
That's a guy that knows what he's about to say to a bunch of.
I'm doing better, you guys. I've been eating healthy, and Adam has been really helpful and on me, and his wife's been on me about eating healthy. So that was a terrible picture of me, but I don't feel too bad because I'm doing better. I'm eating healthy. Man, that was it. I'm so glad that we figured out this volume thing.
Good.
It's really odd, and just so you know kind of what was happening is on that old capture device that was overheating, this only requires one output, right? So that will get me picture and sound on the same sort of like link. This newer version requires 2 separate feeds. So it has to have a separate audio feed coming in through the stream software and a separate video feed, which I didn't know. So I apologize that, but I appreciate everyone who hung with us and and hung around to watch the match. And even though that we were having technical difficulties, my computer crashed twice. So I think this device is probably I don't know, it's probably trash by now,
Cool side story. There's an athlete on this NCVC team that you can see right in front of us.
What NCVC team?
The team in white that's on the screen.
Wait, I don't have anything on my screen.
Oh, I do. I still have your mug right in front of the camera, like on my screen.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You just.
Kate says thank you. Kate, you're welcome. Thank you for hanging out. You guys are Steve and I will hang for a little bit. He's telling a story right now, but thank you very much. Now that I kind of know what's going on, next week's going to be. Well, I don't want to promise you that we won't have issues, but Steve and I have done this twice now, and we've certainly learned a lot through this process. So
test pilot part 3 next week.
Yeah, test pilot 3. Yeah. So sorry, Steven, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that the only reason I was telling you is because I could see the team. I don't know if anybody else can see them anymore, but there's one that's going to be a Beaver. So going to Oregon State. So it was kind of neat because she came to one of our open gyms before all the COVID stuff and was like, I guess it's just a story of you never know who you run into sort of thing. And I was like, I recognize you. And she said, I know exactly who you are. We played you, blah, blah, blah. It's
2018. No way.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
That's cool.
Like, oh, wow. That is neat.
That's cool. Steven, I don't know if you're reading the chat on your end or not, but Barney popped in here and he says, by having an open division, would it encourage kids, coaches, and parents to have the kids stay at their age level? Oh, that's a good question. stay at their age level and play up for better competition versus players playing up an age division on an older team. I think it would, Barney. I think that is a fantastic point. I think that if we allowed the option to have an open division, then yes, we wouldn't have to take the, I'm going to say that the better players and have them play up an age group, right? Like, so Steven's year, for example, and I think, Barney, this is what you're getting at, but Steven's year coaching 16s in 2018, we had three, right? Two or three of your 16s were playing on our 18s team.
Yeah.
And they were legit, right? So it's Ryan, who were Ryan, Izzy, and then Ellie? And Jade? No, Jade was probably...
Jade was 17s playing for you. Ellie was
they were class. Okay.
Yeah, two. Yeah. So, two kids. Yeah.
So two kids.
Yeah.
And wait, Taylor?
No, she wasn't with NPJ that year.
She graduated early. She wasn't. Okay, so two of them at least. So an outside, and
the fact that we have to keep thinking of who they are is a testament to them playing up, right?
Man, if you had those players, even if you ran a 6-2 with that team, it would be like every rotation, you guys would be a huge offensive threat. But the point is, what Barney was getting at, exactly, he said, yeah. So they could have stayed at that age group, and to imagine if you had that 16s team, they were stacked, and then you were playing in the open division against all of us 18s, right? You guys probably would have been in 18 platinum, but again, that wouldn't be a thing. We'd be in this open division, and I don't know how much you guys would have won, but when you go to the qualifiers, when you go to JOs, when you go to these Triple Crown, then when you play back against your peers at 16s, the game would seem slower, the less, all that good stuff. Yeah, Barney, your
touches get better. Everything gets honed quicker because of the ball speed. As literally was my first example, was just ball speed.
Yeah, it's so the Arizona region. I think they're so smart for having come up with that. And what you see in other regions, I'll use Southern California as an example, and Northern California. They did it. This was 10 years ago, before they broke off and did something new. But they didn't have an open division, right? So you would just take that 1/16s team, and let's just continue to use your team as an example. You would take that team and put them in the 18s division, and they would be stuck there, right? But now it's a big commitment because you cannot qualify through our region based on 16s division points because you won't have any. You can't play in the bid tournament. So you're kind of, it's risk reward. You're kind of like thinking, I believe this team's going to qualify. By having them play in the 18s division, they're going to be even more prepared. And so, if you don't qualify, there's nothing you can do, right? Your region can't help you out. So that's certainly a problem, and that's not something that I've really hashed out and thought about, like, okay, what's the solution here? My thing's kind of like, well, we all know if a team's legit, right? So your team plays in 18s, and then say you guys wanted to play in the bid tournament, you'd be like, okay, it seems like a no-brainer. You guys should be the number 1 seed, but you wouldn't have points, and I get, like, out of fairness. But again, I haven't spent much time thinking about it because I'm just kind of like, they're the best team. They're going to play up. If they had to play in the bid tournament, they would still be the best team. So
yes,
they would just default to number 1. Like,
yeah, it's tough to get that preferential treatment though when your region is about that equality and equity in players and teams, stuff like that. So you just got to balance. You got to balance the rules. You got to balance how the social perspective of it is going to be also, and sometimes it's best for these 12 kids, but maybe not best for the region. I don't know the answer and how to balance that idea either. So
I know that our region does friendlies, right? And I'm wondering, and I've thought about this before, is like maybe we could just do like a rotating open division. So think about like the Tour of Texas, right? So they play in
Mhm.
San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, Austin. Yeah. So they play in 3 different locations. Um, Maybe we keep our, we keep our power league structure the way it is, but then we just make sure everyone signs up for the rotating sort of tour of Oregon or open whatever. It's tough because there's limited number of weekends that you can play, I guess, but
Yeah. And then it's got to be invite only. And how do you? Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's potential there because I mean, especially like even this season, right? Like if tournaments like the Crown getting postponed, if tournaments like that gets postponed, and then we're able to do these things locally or within like our sort of um, northwest region, maybe we have a rotating um, tour of NW.
Yeah. Sure.
Who knows?
TNW.
TNW, yeah. Um, and we'll see.
We have another location now. Maybe we could just do a tour of NPJ.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, that was good. We figured it out. At least now I know that this will work, right? If I turn it on again, it should work. So next week, we got, let's see here, what's Barney saying? Understand legit players playing up, but man, when you have 5 or 6 legit players at an age, yeah, yeah. I already know where you're going with this. It would be nice to keep them together and playing up, preparing them for a big
Yeah, but there's
tournament.
nothing to say that those 5 or 6 or even 8, whatever legit 16s players can't play in 18s friendship tournaments to get used to that ball speed as well. The thing for
Yeah,
us is our 18 forefront team doesn't have any weekends to be able to just play a random friendship tournament. You guys are either qualifying or you're playing Power League or you're, you know, something specific.
that
Specific.
you're making me think of how like the national team, senior women's national team operates. Well, men's too. They send their A squad to all the big events, Olympic qualifiers, the $1 million prize pool tournaments. For the other tournaments that you have to continue to play in, I'm talking about like the Pan Am Games, Pan Am Cup, Norseca, like these smaller, what would be the equivalent of local tournaments. Um, they send younger players. They send their B, C, and D squads, right? The players that probably are going to do really well in a few years, but aren't there yet, but needs the experience. And then also they'll play and represent the junior national team and the youth national team. So uh, Italy does that. So Italy, they'll take their U18s players. The top players will go for months at a time and play on the U21 team. They'll play in the National World Championship U21. And then when the U18 tournament comes around, they'll bring them back and put them on that squad. Now,
and then when they go to the Olympics, they just stack it with the best players they have.
I didn't want to do that, with your team, right? It had come up like, hey, since our 18s didn't qualify, can we have, Izzy and Ryan play with you guys? And I actually recall a bunch of us discussing it, and at the end of the day, it was kind of like, well, we know that what would happen if we did that, that team would get a shot in the arm and do really, really well. But we didn't think it would be fair to the team and the players who were, there on the original squad putting in the work.
Yeah, I remember the exact phrase, which was, "These players earned the right to play open, so they're going to play open."
Yeah, yeah. They did the work.
Exactly.
I would hate to replace them with these 2 other players that that didn't go through the sacrifice and the commitment and the ups and the down, like all of that stuff. So
not me, Barney. But thanks, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Steven, thank you so much for your time and for hanging out and helping work through that and playing along until I was able to figure out what the heck I was doing on this end.
Yeah.
Barney, thanks for hanging out with us. Adam, everyone else, Kate, whoever's still here in the stream, thank you guys. Next week, I don't know. I don't know if I can convince Steven to come back on the show. Maybe he'll go for that. He's a busy guy though, so I don't know. I'm just gonna plant that seed now. But we'll probably, if we can, we'll either you guys let us know if you want to see more NPJ matches. We have international matches, some NCAA matches that we can pick from. So I don't know. We'll decide that later. But
some New Zealand national team stuff that you could look through.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, I know. You just type in Steven Stone into YouTube and you can find him lighting people up. You guys should randomly dance for more followers.
Funny. Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so I got to figure out what we're going to watch next week, and I got to work on my dance moves. Got it. Thanks, Barney. I appreciate that. All right, well,
you know that I'll come back anytime.
Cool.
I'm getting more comfortable with being on a stream, so that's good.
Cool. Yeah. Well, just do what I do. It's like talking to yourself, which I do all day anyways. Thanks for hanging out with me, Steven, and thanks so much everybody for being with us and being patient with us. We will well, that's it. So we'll see you guys next week, Monday.
Yep, really soon.
Alrighty. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye, Steven.
See you, bye.
Cool.